focus is to promote the renewed hope agenda of President Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu, the programs, the policies, and the ideology. And that's what we're here to do. And this is 1 p.m. And my guest today is the legendary, renowned Chief Obla Okoye. We're still expecting him in the studio. He's just a short distance away. But while we're waiting for him, I have to keep the show rolling. And so today, while next should be my usual motivational speech, and I'll keep that on hold until Obla gets here. But how be it? On the burner today is a lot of things have been happening in our political space in recent times. We have the Port Harcourt issue, and you all know that I'm an original Port Harcourt boy. Way back, I started my broadcasting from Rivers. As a matter of fact, I lived in Port Harcourt from when the last bomb dropped in 1969 in somewhere called Man Must Whack. That's where I used to live from 69 December until somewhere in 93 or thereabouts, when I moved out to my own house at thereabout then. But that's secondary. What we're trying to say is that Rivers State is on the front burner, and I'm not particularly happy. I'm not electric about the fact that my own city, once upon a time, the city of angels, where things happen, where good people, where nice people, beautiful people, and lovely flowers meet together at a junction and the night lights up. What's happening to Rivers State? I'm really pained. I used to be a social prefect there. The party wasn't partying without Samatasi Oburu being there. But that was back in the day. Today now, I'm here in Abuja, and I weep seeing what's happening in my dear Rivers State. I cannot afford to take sides. I cannot. But one thing I do know, I want peace. I need for peace to reign in the Rivers State, And I wish for them to have peace and tranquility there so that development will thrive. How do we achieve that? A whole lot has happened. A whole lot. The governor is in one camp. The political father of Rivers State, as we speak, for them now in the APC, in the PDP, the FCT minister is on one side, and the APC is on the other side. So we have a potpourri of various interests in Rivers State. But what's the way forward? Now that's where Renewed Hope Agenda, the way forward, comes in. What's the way forward? So while we're waiting for our guest, I was sent this message which I want to share with you all, just in a jiffy, and we want to look at the Rivers State, what has come of it. And so let's say the Rivers State political chess game, the Supreme Court's Fubara's counter-attack, and Nigeria looming democratic crisis. Someone sent me this, and let's just look at it. It says the Supreme Court ruling must have felt like the final whistle to Wike's camp. His loyalists likely popped champagne, thinking the game was over. We got him. Sorry, let me take a break here. I'll come back.
The Renewed Hope Agenda for Nigeria is the brainchild of President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. It is geared towards renewing the hopes of Nigerians for a better future through its policies, projects, and programs that are aimed towards lifting the GDP and economic growth of the nation by improving standard of living of the average Nigerian. The Renewed Hope Agenda Radio is poised to promote all of the above while enlightening Nigerians as well. Join us every Tuesday afternoon, 2 p.m. on Citizen FM Radio, 93.7, Labor House, Central Business District, Abuja. Renewed Hope Agenda Radio on 93.7 FM. The future starts today.
The Supreme Court's ruling must have felt like the final whistle. Must have felt like the final whistle to Wike's camp. His loyalists likely popped champagne, thinking the game was over. We got him. They must have cheered. In the same way, Abuja politicians celebrate winning party primaries by spraying crisp mint Naira notes. But did anyone remind them that Rivers State has its own judiciary? While Wike's handicapped assembly members were flexing their newfound Supreme Court-backed power, Fubara's commissioners and the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, RISIC chairman, Justice Adolphus Enebeli, retired, decided to prove a point. Port Harcourt no be Lagos, according to this entry. They stormed the state court and slapped the assembly with a lawsuit as forcefully as an Igbo trader demanding full payment. Their demand, let me look at it again. Their demand, a court order blocking the assembly from interfering with their appointment and duties. And guess what? The state court delivered swift and sharp, like a market woman settling hot akara at dawn. The legislative power grab that backfired. Wike's assembly had been riding a power high, issuing a 48-hour ultimatum to Fubara demanding he submit a fresh list of commissioners and the 2025 budget. They outright rejected the 19 commissioners he appointed, claiming sorry about that. Claiming they were not properly confirmed. I'll take a break here now.
President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. It is geared towards renewing the hopes of Nigerians for a better future through its policies, projects, and programs that are aimed towards lifting the GDP and economic growth of the nation by improving standard of living of the average Nigerian. The Renewed Hope Agenda Radio is poised to promote all of the above while enlightening Nigerians as well. Join us every Tuesday afternoon, 2 p.m. on Citizen FM Radio, 93.7, Labor House, Central Business District, Abuja. Renewed Hope Agenda Radio on 93.7 FM. The future starts today. The Renewed Hope Agenda for Nigeria.
Okay, we're back again. Meanwhile, the Speaker, Amehule, and his lawmakers feeling invisible, summoned the RISIC chairman to explain why he dared to conduct an election that the Supreme Court had nullified. Their strategy was clear: strip Fubara of all authority and reduce him to a figurehead governor, one of those Instagram big men and with loud accounts than bank balance. But Fubara, a true son of Port Harcourt, as this message reads, wasn't about to roll over. His commissioners struck back, dragging the battle into the Rivers State High Court. They argued that the assembly had no power to overturn their appointments. And fantastic. My guest has just arrived, and it's no other than the legendary Trueborn, the man that's vocal, the man that has a whole lot speaking for him, a man who needs no introduction, but suffice to say that he is the spokesman of the people, of the ordinary man, just as the judiciary was supposed to be the hope of the ordinary man. Chief Obla Okoy is the spokesman for the ordinary man, for the masses. He's a transparent gentleman. I had the fortune of meeting him way back in 2015. As a matter of fact, my sojourn in APC will be credited to him. But for him, I would not have known who Buhari was. Myself and Dr. Wilson Okior, he more or less seconded us and took us direct to Buhari, what's it called now? Buhari Campaign Center, then in Cotonou Crescent, and we're so grateful for him. So from then, my stay in Abuja, political stay in Abuja, has been thanks to Chief Okoy Obla. Chief Okoy Obla, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Honorable Sir.
What happened to you last week?
Oh, I took ill,
Yes, let the people know, because they waited for you, because it was highly publicized.
Yeah.
It was highly, massively publiced that you were going to be on the show this week, or last week, sorry.
Yes, I think my blood pressure went up because
I can imagine Nigeria now. Nobody is sure of his own blood pressure. You wake up because of the way things are happening in Nigeria.
I had a small headache. I went to the pharmacist and they took my blood pressure. It was over 200 or something.
Are you for real?
You have to see your doctor. So I went to my doctor and then I couldn't come out. I had to be subjected to a bed rest.
Yes, you had to. Well, nice to see you. Health first. It's nice seeing you again. You're looking real healthy, man. You're looking real well. Madam is doing a good job.
You too. You're looking so handsome.
Okay, let's get to the crux of the matter. First of all, we know we've passed the Supreme Court's ladder,
yes.
But it will not be doing justice if we do not try to translate that judgment.
Yes.
Especially considering the fact that you are, how will I put it now? You're a knight in the judiciary temple.
Yes.
So can you translate it in a brief format? Translate it for the ordinary man to understand what that Supreme Court judgment was all about in Rivers State.
Well, the Supreme Court said, look, we are not going to tolerate dictatorship by governors. Governors, must operate within the confines of the rule of law.
Okay.
Governors must operate within the confines of the Constitution, because they took the oath of office, oath of allegiance to the Federal Republic, oath of office that they will defend, preserve, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Because right. Without the Constitution, the governors will not be there. So the Supreme Court said, look, a governor must not try to stop a House of Assembly to operate. A governor cannot appoint himself the chief judge and begin to interpret Section 102 of the Constitution that says if you leave your party, to join another party, you have to vacate your seat. But you don't need to stay in your office in the government house and interpret that provision of the Constitution. That's what the Constitution says. But there's some other circumstances we have to look at. Was there a crisis in your party? If there was a crisis at the national level, then you can jump from one party to the other.
Okay.
Then you cannot vacate your seat. So then you say, look, we have a House of Assembly. Rivers State is a very important state in Nigeria.
Okay.
I think the most popular state in the South region.
They say the state is a cash cow of the country.
Exactly. That is where the bulk of the oil revenue or revenue this country comes from. So it's very, very important. In the exclusive economic zone of Nigeria. So even in terms of national security, Rivers State is very important. And then you now stop the House of Assembly from sitting. You demolish the House of Assembly.
Oh, no, now you're going for. Has it been proven that he demolished
when
the
the
House
Supreme
of
Court says so? That is the last.
Okay, that's what the Supreme Court said.
The apex court.
Okay.
That is the oracle. The Supreme Court is infallible. So the Supreme Court said you demolish the House of Assembly just to prevent these other 27 members from sitting. And you were not operating a government, because without the House of Assembly, without the legislature, there's no government. The Rivers State government is made up of 3 branches. The legislature, which is the House of Assembly, the executive, which is the governor, and the judiciary.
Yeah.
Yes. So if one is not working, if one is stopped from, carrying out his constitutional responsibility or role, then it is wrong. We cannot tolerate that. So what the message was that we cannot tolerate lawlessness. Look, the Supreme Court is not only a court of justice, a court of law, a court of equity. The Supreme Court is a court of public policy.
But they say is that it's infallible, but in its infallible,
Yes.
it is still fallible.
Sure, you can criticize his judgment.
Okay.
You know, but you cannot change
So,
it.
but this particular judgment, is there room for criticism? Is there a
Well, I
lacuna
have
in
not
it?
seen. I know I'm very unemotional when I'm interpreting the law.
Yes,
you know,
that's
a lot of Nigerians are very emotional.
Yeah.
They want to apply politics
To it.
to law. Law is very dry. Law does not, talk about emotions
That's right.
and sentiments. The law will look at the law as it is, not as it ought to be.
Okay.
Particularly the kind of law we practice in Nigeria, the common law tradition. It looks at law from the way it is written, what is written by the parliament. It is not molarity and so forth and so on. Those things don't.
So more or less,
apply.
So more or less, the Supreme Court was clear in its
Yes, the Supreme Court was
judgment,
sending
in its
a
ruling.
message
Okay.
that we cannot wreck this democracy by allowing people to be lawless, by allowing people to take laws into their hands, no matter how they place. If you do that, then we have to discipline you. And that is what they have done. They asked the governor, that budget you presented, you cannot present a budget to 4 members alone. The Rivers State House of Assembly is made up of 33 people. And then you presented your budget to only 4 people. So you can't do that.
So that budget now is null and void. Is
That's what the Supreme Court said. Look,
Okay.
the budget is null and void. The House of Assembly was you presented that budget before. It's illegal. That's group for 4 people.
Illegal.
Yeah,
okay.
go back so that all the 33 elected members will sit down and look at that budget.
Or 2/3 of the 20.
Or 2/3, or maybe 1/3. 1/3 is about maybe 10 or so, or 11. 1/3 is 11.
So if they have 1/3 of the House of Assembly members, it's legal.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's now, having looked at that budget, having looked at that Supreme Court judgment, that was 2 weeks ago. We have moved away from there. How be it? There is still a major crisis still brewing in Rivers State. The governor is on one side, the minister of the Federal Capital is on one side, with the 27 lawmakers, and then the party, the APC, is on another side. So now, what's advice to the, first of all, let's take it, what's your advice to the lawmaker? Because we're going to come back to the government. What's your advice to the lawmakers? Because the lawmakers were invited for a meeting yesterday. They were supposed to be in the meeting yesterday. And they said at the meeting that the invitation was, the turn by which the invitation came was not acceptable. That is, came through the, what's it called now, the social media. Do you think that they should have honored that invitation? And if you don't think so, do you think they were right not honoring it? Or do you think they would have honored it? And give us your reasons, please.
Well, you see, the principles of separation of powers, the legislature makes laws, also carry out oversight functions.
Okay.
Oversight of the executive branch of government, the judicial branch of government. So the judiciary interpret the law. If there is a crisis, if there's a dispute, a disagreement, it's the judiciary that will interpret the law and say, look, legislature, this is where these are the boundaries. You cannot go outside the boundaries of your constitutional power. Okay, executive, these are your areas. You cannot go into this area. It's outside your jurisdiction. So the 3 branches of government, if you look at the constitution, I don't think it is wrong for the governor to invite legislators. It is wrong.
Okay.
The governor should have a special advisor, somebody maybe who was a former legislator, who knows the workings of the legislator.
Special advisor on assembly matters.
Exactly. So
that will go and liaise with the assembly members.
Go and talk to them. Go and dialogue with them, and say, look, let us, have a meeting point. Let us have a meeting point. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that, because they told him some of the things you did when you were using a four members House of Assembly, they are wrong. Like confirmation of commissioners.
Okay.
The Attorney General, the chairman of Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, local government service commission, and so forth and so on. These things were done.
I even held an election.
Exactly. So they are wrong. So he was supposed to, if the governor know what he's doing, They should send a special advisor, somebody who knows the legislators.
I can remember that your brother Ita Inang was special advisor to the president on the legislative on the House National Assembly matters.
So what is the essence? To smoothing all the rough edges. Okay, when you send a bill to the House and there are some rough edges, it is a special advisor because he is skilled in parliamentary procedure.
And he's a friend who has been there before.
Who will go and talk to all his colleagues and say, please give the president a soft landing, do this, do that. You know, you understand? Because they are not fighting. They are all of them are working together, even though they are separated. They have separate functions. Sometimes they cooperate with one another. Yes. So that is the cooperation the governor should exploit as a politician. Okay. The governor, which is not doing. No,
but you also have bear in mind that the governor Ab Initio was not a politician before he became a governor.
But he should learn because now he's a political leader too.
So going forward, you will advise that he should and must have
mellow down.
Mellow
down and become a politician. Politicians know how to sort themselves out. You can be quarreling with somebody in the afternoon, in the night you go to the person's house to eat.
That's very true. Very true. So as it is right now, the House of Assembly members have declined the invitation, and you have said that they are right in declining the invitation, that the governor made a mistake, that ordinarily the governor should have a legislative aid.
Exactly.
A special
after so many months of rancor. Almost lasting 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah,
and knowing that the rancor was between him and the assembly members, exactly. He should have two, as a matter of fact, senior special assistant, House of Assembly matters, special assistant on legislative issues. You understand? Yeah. So it was actually his mistake. He should. We'll see how we can send that message out that he should forthwith consider having those two people going forward in Rivers State. Now, elections were held. We know that the Supreme Court said those elections were null and void.
Yes, because that election was contemptuous of the orders of which you use that order.
Is it that the government does not have what we used to call it when I was the government, we used to call it HHG, Honorable Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice?
Well, you see,
who would advise him on the position of the law?
was there. I understand it's a senior advocate of Nigeria, but see, sometimes the ages they want to be politically correct, but which is unprofessional.
They want to be politically stew licking.
Exactly.
So the governor, they don't want to upset the governor.
A senior advocate of Nigeria
should be able to advise the governor.
Exactly, and put your leg down and say, look, this is what the law says. If you don't accept, then I will leave your government. That is what I expect from the Attorney General. It is not just to control to the governor. Control to the governor. That is very psychophantic.
Or is it that they got another judgment from another lesser court that gave them the pedigree, that gave them the mojo to be able to conduct an election?
Well, they have not told us that.
They spent billions, taxpayers' money to conduct that election.
The court that has a jurisdiction on that matter should be the Federal High Court.
Okay.
It is not the State High Court. The Rivers State High Court will not have jurisdiction. I told you that the voters registration of voters in Nigeria is under the exclusive preserve of the federal government. If you look at the exclusive legislative list in the Constitution, that is, those items listed in the exclusive legislative list are items only the federal government has the competency to dabble into. So a federal high court is the only court that has jurisdiction when dealing with matters that has to do with federal government, not a state high court. So that aspect of the issue is a matter for the federal high court. The Rivers State High Court will not have jurisdiction. So I don't think it is because of that issue that court issued a counter order. Okay, so I expect the Attorney General to advise the governor and say, look, this matter is INEC matter.
Okay.
Yes, it's INEC matter. So the Rivers State Electoral Commission should not dabble into the matter, but it's the governors behave like emperors.
Okay.
Yes.
Now let's look at the budget stalemate. Now they tell him to represent the budgets that he has presented before. And he's saying that there was a short notice for him to present it. They said he should present it in 24 hours or 48 hours. Now, what's your position on it? Do you think that, I mean, we should be able to meet each other halfway to be able to have peace? I mean, a budget, although a budget has been presented before, that if you're operating, I think you've operated 5% of it or 3% of it, you should be able to put it together and present again, right? But they're saying that the notice given to them is too short a time to present the budget back again. Where are we and how should we...
That excuse is not very tenable. Who handles the budget? The Commissioner of Finance, maybe the Director General of the Budget Office, or their special advisor to the Governor on budget. So I believe budget is just piece of papers. You know, even if you are not going to be detailed, you go to the House, present a one sheet, piece of paper, or the Governor will read it. This is how much I'm going to spend for recurrent expenditure. This is what I'm going to spend for, capital expenditure. And, present that to the House of Assembly. Thereafter, your office, the office of the Commissioner, Director of Budget, they will now come out with the details of, what that budget will be. That is the tradition. When the president goes to the National Assembly, he goes there with only one piece of paper, and present and say, this is going to be my budget. The details will be worked out later. So I don't think it's rocket science for the governor to comply with the 48 hours.
No, but governor comply with 48 hours means that they must have a place where they have accepted to be meeting, and that's where that meeting would have been ideal if they had accepted to meet. I'm sure that they structured, okay, this is where the State Assembly is going to be meeting. This is where you're going to come and represent the budget. Because as it is right now, I'm not sure they have a place where they sit down to meet.
Well, I don't know about that. Wherever they were sitting, maybe they have.
Because as we hear, the former assembly was burnt down or was destroyed.
Well, they can go there and sit.
Okay, but there was a place that the other 3 or 4 members of the assembly were meeting, where the governor presented. They can go there and sit down.
Exactly. So that's what I expect the governor to have done. The governor is supposed to create a conducive environment
that's true,
for the House of Assembly to carry out its constitutional role. The governor has that duty.
The way it's turning out now is like the judiciary is now a political battleground, eh?
Well, it is
some persons are saying that it has now come to a position where a point where it is open to the highest bidder.
Well, I don't want to cast aspersions on the judiciary. In Nigeria, people make a lot of careless statements, and if something is against you, you begin to imagine that
you have
exactly. So I don't want to believe that our judges are that cheap. So we should stop castigating our judges because they give judgments that are not in tune with what we want. This is an era for us to have so many cases in court.
Okay.
Because the constitutional government, there will always be a dispute between one branch of government or the other. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is the work of the judiciary. Rather than having, a war, if there's a dispute, we should go there, submit the dispute to the court, and the court will come out with a judgment one way or the other. If you start from the High Court, if the judgment is given and the judgment is not what you want, you go to the Court of Appeal. And then also, when the Court of Appeal comes out with the judgment, if you don't like it, you go to the Supreme Court. And if the Supreme Court gives a judgment, you accept it, whether or not the judgment is does not accord with what you want. There must be a judgment, and the Supreme Court is the last court. So rather than sitting down and castigating judges, begin to read meanings into their judgment. Oh, this one is this pocket, so and so person's pocket, and it is wrong. We are overeating the system unnecessarily, or the polity.
So okay, all right. Now, in a nutshell, what's your advice before we take a break? What's your advice to the 27 lawmakers?
My advice is there must be a meeting point. The two parties must find a meeting point in the interest of the people of Rivers State, in the interest of the country. I have told you, Rivers State is a very important state. It is Port Harcourt is the capital of the South people. You are talking about 9 states, So you are talking about the exclusive economic zone. All the money we are making to run this country comes from that area. So it is very, very important that there's peace in that area. So the legislators and the governor must put aside their ego and take into account consideration the interest of the country, the interest of the Rivers people of Rivers State who voted them into power.
Okay.
Both of them were voted by the people.
Okay. All right, we take a break right now. When we return, we're going to look at the other angle, the APC versus the governor. He's been given 48 hours to resign or he'll be impeached. Don't go away. My name is Sam Atasio Oboro. You're still on to Renewed Hope Agenda, the way forward.
Of the average Nigerian. The Renewed Hope Agenda Radio is poised to promote all of the above while enlightening Nigerians as well. Join us every Tuesday afternoon, 2 p.m. on Citizen FM Radio, 93.7, Labor House, Central Business District, Abuja. Renewed Hope Agenda Radio on 93.7 FM. The future starts today. The Renewed Hope Agenda for Nigeria is the brainchild of President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. It is geared towards renewing the hopes of Nigerians for a better future through its policies, projects, and programs that are aimed towards lifting the GDP and economic growth of the nation by improving standard of living of the average Nigerian. The Renewed Hope Agenda Radio is poised to promote all of the above while enlightening Nigerians as well. Join us.
Hello there, good afternoon. You're still on to the program Renewed Hope Agenda, the way forward. My name is Sam Atasio Oboro. I come correct or I don't come at all. I have with me as guest the legendary, the true born, the judicial juggernauts, Chief Okoy Obla. I always keep missing his middle name, so I call him. But Obla, tell us a little bit about yourself before we go into the next week, because you have been how will I put it? First time I met you was at Gimbia Street, that chamber there, upstairs. Yeah?
Yes,
tell us, just so our listeners know the caliber of the capacity of a person who's been talking law and Supreme Court and High Court stuff here. Yeah,
I have practiced law for 34 years.
Oh, fantastic. Some persons listen to this show. We're not born then, eh?
I was called to the bar June 1991.
Okay.
Yeah.
6 June 1991. I was a youth corper then.
Okay.
So I was just finishing youth service. I was a youth corper. Yeah, I was a youth corper in ABS.
Okay.
I was doing this stuff then. As a matter of myself with Peter Doche.
We would have saved the same year if I didn't go to the law school.
Oh yeah.
I actually graduated in 1989.
Okay, I graduated 90. I served 91.
Okay. Went to the law school 89, 90.
Okay.
Yes, and then 1991 I was a copper.
Okay, I was a copper in 91 actually. I was a copper in ABS Enugu. Then Peter Doche was.
So I practiced law for a long time.
Tell us about yourself.
My specialty is human rights advocacy.
Okay.
So I can say that I was the first human rights lawyer in Calabar.
Okay.
And at that time, I've always been a politically minded person, politically conscious person.
Okay.
What was in vogue in the early 1990s in Nigeria was we wanted the military to return back to the barracks.
Okay, yeah.
So I took part in the pro-democracy movement. I was the chairman of the Universal Defenders of Democracy. It was a human rights group that was set up by Professor Michael Ozakome, SAN.
Okay, yeah.
So I was in that movement. So I practiced law until from in Calabar until 2008 when I relocated to Abuja, and then joined the CPC. They were trying to form the CPC that time, because I didn't like PDP. So I was looking for a party that was on the left, because in 2003 I had run a governorship, under the National Conscience Party.
NCP.
Yes, of Gani Fahimi.
Oh, Gani Fahimi, yeah.
So we were talking about boycotting the elections, 2003 elections, and so in Cross River State, because of the way PDP was going about,
taking everything,
exactly.
Everything
So
by every means necessary. In River State, there was divide and rule at the time. Yeah, but
we didn't have faith in the ballot paper because these people are going to rig this election. So the opposition was talking about, boycotting the elections. So I had to seek clearance from Gani Fahimi, and so I called him. I said, look, we want to boycott this election. He said, look, don't boycott the elections. Work for General Muhammadu Buhari. He's an honest man. So that is how I got into Buhari's political group.
Political family.
Exactly. When I came to Abuja 2008, they were about to, set up CPC. Yes, and they were looking for somebody from the South to be one of the national officers to enable them register the party with INEC. So coming from the South, I was appointed a national legal advisor of CPC.
And then you had been a former gubernatorial candidate as well. So,
yeah, sure. When I was very young, 2003.
Can you imagine? We're not so young then, because I remember in 1999 I was media assistant to Alabo Toygram Douglas.
Okay,
when he
the
was
Minister for Aviation.
We have aviation, but then he was contesting for president. Yes. That was the dawn of politics in 99, and I didn't know what politics was, because I was more like a showman. I was a TV presenter. Then I'd gone to France 98. I'd done Nigeria 99, which I did in Calabar. I stayed in Hilly at Ita's house in Calabar. Then I was the commentator for Nigeria 99 in Calabar. And that Calabar zone had Zambia, Honduras, Spain, and Brazil.
Yeah, sure.
And Brazil. I was a commentator in Calabar. So I was already a star, a superstar. So I didn't know what politics was. When Alabo told me that, Sam, can't you be governor? I said, Excellency, please be governor. What do I do? Well, I don't agree to anywhere. You bring a red carpet and pop champagne for me free. I didn't know politics was. But eventually, by 2003, I had become a director in one of Odili's government. So I began to become politically conscious. Now, let's get back to why we're here. River State. It's such a great city, such a peaceful city, just like Calabar. Very romantic. In the morning, in the evening. In the evening, it's such a romantic city. But what's going on now is so it tears me apart. And now, suffice to say, the quagmire, the brouhaha between the governor and the 27 law assembly members is almost coming to a stalemate now. I mean, one is not sure what's going to happen tomorrow when we wake up. As we speak, the chairman of the party, the recognized chairman of the party in River State, Tony Okocha, he has been here. He has sat on that seat twice this year, and he has said he has given the governor an ultimatum. He said, resign in 48 hours. Resign in 48 hours or be impeached. Do you think he has the pedigree to make that kind of statement?
Well, that's a very unconstitutional statement.
Okay.
Yes.
Why so?
The APC has no right, as a political party,
to ask the governor
to resign.
The PDP to,
yes. I thought I even heard the House of Assembly. The River State House of Assembly gave the governor an ultimatum that he has 48 hours to resign.
No, he was the APC chairman that said so.
So that's grandstanding. Grandstanding. The political party has no right to ask the governor to resign. If the governor wants to resign, we don't need anybody to push him. He himself.
No, but as an opposition party chairman, do you think he has a place to say that's the government?
Yeah, that's why I call it grandstanding.
Okay.
It's a political statement. So it's of no moment.
It's of no moment. It's of no momentum.
Sure. So anybody can ask anybody to resign, for political reason, playing to the gallery. That's why I said it was grandstanding.
Okay.
But legally, constitutionally, he has no right.
As once upon a time a legal advisor to a major political party in our nascent democracy, what's your advice to the APC now, considering what's going on in Rivers State? How best should they be? How best should they position, and how best should they handle themselves in this whole development going on in Rivers State?
Well, they should toe the part of constitutionalism, legality.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the part members of APC or the members of APC in the Rivers State House of Assembly should do.
Okay.
Be on the side of the law.
Okay.
Because the whole thing about Rivers State, the whole thing about all the crisis is law.
Mm-hmm.
And the governor even alluded to that fact when the president tried to use extra legal means to settle the matter. He opted out and said, look, this matter can only be resolved by the courts. And the court has done that. So I expect the governor, to comply with the Supreme Court judgment. He told us he was waiting for a copy of the judgment. He has a copy of the judgment. Mm-hmm. He should comply. He should present the budget to the House. He should ask the House of Assembly, or he should comply with what the House of Assembly has asked him to do. Their commissioners were not confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
Members of some boards that require confirmation from the House were not confirmed by the House. So why not ask them to go?
So is it to represent the commissioners again, or present a new fresh list, or whatever?
You can present a fresh list, or you can present the ones that he appointed.
Let them go and be screened.
Exactly, because that is his responsibility, his prerogative to appoint. Then send the names to the House to confirm. Because I am looking at a scenario of the governor, suffering what Alhaji Barre Musa suffered in Kaduna State.
Yeah.
Kaduna State. He was elected on the platform of PRP, People's Redemption Party. But unfortunately, the majority
of the assembly
was
MPN.
the MPN. So he sent names.
And they rejected.
They rejected 10 times. And then what happened, after all that show was impeachment. They say you ran the state without commissioners for 2 years. And they impeached him. They impeached also his deputy governor. His deputy governor became governor.
So now if they impeach, let's take for example, let's look at the flip side of the coin. Let's say Governor Siminalayi Fubara is impeached tomorrow. Will the deputy governor sit in place?
That is what the law says. That's what the constitution says.
Or the speaker, because the way I've been reading it in the background, it's like the speaker is going to be the acting governor.
No. The constitution is very clear on that. If the governor is impeached, the deputy governor becomes the governor.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have seen that so many times. When Fayose was impeached, when Ladojo was impeached, when Dariye was impeached, when Barre Musa was impeached. So the constitution says if the governor is impeached, or if the governor dies, if the governor resigns from office, then the person who is the next in line to succeed him is the deputy governor. So there's no doubt about that.
Okay. All right. Now I'd asked you earlier on. Asked you your position as a sound legal mind. What's your advice to the opposition party from the national here down to the states? Should be to the regarding this Brouhaha University. Now, what's your position? What would be your advice to the ruling political party in Rivers State, which is the PDP? Don't forget that the PDP ran an election and used a mushroom party to produce its assembly members. So there's neither so the governor is in one party and the local government chairman are on one party. What's your take?
Well, let's go back to history.
Yes, please do.
What is happening in Rivers State had happened in Western Nigeria in the 1960s.
When Akinloye Abi Akintola.
Yes. The Party Action Group was a party in government. Chief Awolowo, Obafemi Awolowo, was a member of the party, but he was a leader of opposition in the federal parliament. The man who was the regional premier was Akintola. Yes, and then the MPC was in a coalition with NCNC.
Okay.
And that the MPC
Akintola was in which party now?
It was in Action Group.
Action Group.
Yes.
It was an Action Group, yeah.
But the party was divided because Awo wanted to be prime minister. And then NPC, Northern People's Congress, and NCSC that were, running the federal government, they were in coalition. They wanted to make an incursion to Western Nigeria so that they will maybe disturb the
Awo's plan to become prime premier.
Unfortunately, Akintola, who was a very faithful disciple of Obafemi Awolowo, he decided to, go the way, the other way. He wanted the Western region to be in the center. So he was supporting
so he fell apart.
MPC and NCNC. And then Awolowo was not happy. So that division between these two leaders also brought division to the Western Nigeria House of Assembly.
Okay.
And then there was a fight.
And that fight is what culminated eventually into the civil war and everything.
After the fight, the House was divided. The federal government intervened because the federal government had interest. The federal government declared an emergency.
In Western Nigeria.
Yes. Removed the premier, appointed a sole administrator. So that was the genesis of even the Civil War. All the events that accumulated in the coup, the Civil War, all started from that division.
Because what happened in Western Nigeria, that's what the Civil War agitators...
Between two political leaders in Western Nigeria, just like two political leaders in Rivers State disagreeing. So we must have a meeting point. Let us learn from history. Those lessons, what happened in 1963 in the Western Nigeria.
Let's not allow it to happen again.
Exactly. So the legislators...
no country can go through two civil wars.
Exactly. Particularly the governor. He has a duty to simmer down.
As Sim.
More than, yes.
As Sim, he has a duty to simmer down.
Exactly. More than even the legislators. The legislators...
He has the onus on him to call for peace.
Peace, exactly. So all these people try to bring in Wike is either here nor there. Even if he disagrees with Wike, let him go and have reconcile with Wike.
I mean, there's what they call, when I was in school, there's a book called Test of the Double Veil.
Yes.
I don't know if you read it. The protagonist's name was Maud Flander. The major theme was she stooped to conquer.
Exactly.
So the governor should be stooping to conquer, so that he contains his 4 years and then have an opportunity for the next 4 years, which is neither here nor there, because politics is neither here nor there. So
he made a mistake to disagree with his leader. His leader is Wike. Yes, and Wike gave him instructions to become governor. He was not in politics.
He was not in politics. I never knew him. I didn't know who he was.
Accountant in the civil service. So he should be grateful to Wike. So in as much as we would have tried as much as possible to have a relationship with Wike, to tolerate him,
But why are people blaming Wike? Do you think he should be blamed? Because I don't see how you want to blame him, because he's the minister of the Federal Capital Territory. He's not the governor of Rivers State. He's not the 27 assembly members.
Yeah.
Even if the 27 assembly members are loyal to him, but you cannot afford to come out rightly and blame him.
We are very emotional. A lot of people don't like Wike. Who feels Wike should not align with President
Asiwaju.
Exactly.
It's about leader. It's about the greater Nigeria. It's not about Wike. It's not about Asiwaju. It's about the greater Nigeria.
I have not seen anything Wike has done.
If Wike is aligning with Asiwaju and he has performed and been aligning with Asiwaju, I have been in this federal capital and I can see that our federal capital is moving from grass to grace. He's performing.
Yeah.
It's about better life for everybody.
Nigerians are sometimes unnecessarily emotional. I think Wike is a very competent politician. He's a very competent leader, very strong. And we need political leaders that are brave,
especially in a country like Nigeria.
Exactly. So you see what he has done in the federal FCT. I've lived in the FCT since 2008. You know, and the last minister did nothing.
Everywhere is how will I put it? Everywhere there's construction going on.
Sure. So I have not seen anything Wike has done bad.
At the end of every year, there's commissioning.
Yeah.
At the end of this first year, there was massive commissioning. And I'm sure that at the end of this next second year, there's going to be massive commissioning. But although I still think that the environment is still highly polluted. Something has to be done about the environment.
Well, what I'm very critical that the federal FCT administration is not planting trees. Abuja is so bare, you know, no flowers. So we should be planting trees all over Abuja, you know,
and flowers, beautify the place.
Yes, so
and make the environment clean.
Also, the environment balance the ecosystem. Abuja is so hot, and because we don't have trees,
especially now. Especially now, it's so excruciatingly hot as to speak right now. I mean,
so that is just what I don't. You know, I'm not seeing. I don't like it as somebody who's environmentally conscious. So we should plant trees. Even all the young people who are unemployed should be recruited and, you know,
since the conversation has drifted to Abuja because of Wike and Wike's involvement in Rivers State, considering the fact that Wike is a Rivers man, there's something I think is happening in Abuja that I am amazed. Back in the day when we were growing up, or rather when we were in our teens and our mid, this is what they call sanitation authority. They have it here in Abuja, I'm sure.
They have
what they used to do every month, at the last Saturday of every month, environmental sanitation. How come they don't practice it in Abuja? Because all the gutters are, all the federal, there's no gutter you see in Abuja that is clean.
Yeah,
physics, dirty, refuse, everything. I don't know what's happening with the environment.
Maybe we should use this program
and tell them that they should launch every sanitation weekend every month, one Saturday every month. Everybody come out from your house.
We used to
plant green, plant grasses, clean your gutter.
Sure,
it's not everything about government.
We appeal to the minister to do that. The minister should do that as a matter of urgency. He should reintroduce environmental sanitation
every month.
Every month. On Saturday,
once a Saturday,
6 o'clock in the morning
to 9 o'clock, or 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock.
People should clean the environment. People should plant trees.
No movement.
Plant flowers, exactly.
Because Abuja is so hot, especially now that electricity is not as what it should be. And if you don't want to come out in the night to start owning your generator, diesel is not as cheap as it used to be. You know. Anyway, we're not done yet. We have about 2 or 3 minutes to go. But before we run it up, let's just look at one thing that is trending right now. This is my period of what's trending.
Yeah.
Your friend, your brother, former minister of FCT, former governor of Kaduna State, Malam El-Rufai, he has just dumped the APC and ported to SDP. Is there a political calculation that we don't know about going forward? Because you have an eye in the political leaders and leadership in Nigeria.
This morning I had a conversation with a radio station based in Calabar, you know, and the same question was thrown at me. Well, it's sad he left because I know him very well. When I was the National Deputy Secretary of CPC. He was also a senior member of CPC. As a matter of fact, I can vividly remember he used to come to the secretariat in Utako with Adiza Bala Usman. They always come into there.
That became his chief of staff, and
exactly.
Became the MPA.
At that time, he was chairman of the CPC Committee on Renewal. And he did a fine job and advised that we should go into merger with Asiwaju's party, the ACN. Well, he became governor of Kaduna State, but I don't know. It seems he became uncomfortable in APC because of what the issues he has domestically in Kaduna.
They said that he has security issues.
Well, he was not cleared by the National Assembly, but I would not even blame the president. Some people are saying he's a president. If the president didn't want to appoint him, he wouldn't have appointed him.
They would have nominated him in the first place. So he's not the president.
He's not the
I don't think he's the president.
Yeah. So I think he was not happy in his last appearance on Arise before he decamped. He said the president, contributed. I don't know how the president contributed. I think also it's based on insinuations about the National Security Advisor, Balam Ribadu. He said, but he was being witch hunted that they were using some anti-corruption agencies to fight him, and he made allusion to the fact that they want to do away with him, because of the politics of 2031. So I think he is prepared maybe to run 2031.
He's not even talking about 2027.
Well, the truth of the matter is that for 2027, the presidency will be the South. Yeah, it's true. So for 2031, then it will be the turn of the North. That is what the party has been doing. They had 8 years of Buhari. Then,
Well, we have had a situation where the president lost midway. I mean, Jonathan lost midway.
Well, and that is what has caused all the hiccups in the PDP. Yes, that was what has caused all the hiccups in PDP. Because when Jonathan became president, after the death of Yaradua, yes, and served for about 6 years, some people said, he has taken the turn of the North, and that he should not contest in 2015. People like, I think Abubakar were making the argument. Yes. So all of them left the party to join the APC because they say that he was in breach of the PDP zoning arrangement. And in 2023, all the whole disagreement between Atiku, Awike, and the others, it's because of this issue. They say, look, it's a turn of
the South.
The presidential candidate should
must
come
from the South.
And Atiku say no. He didn't agree with them. So that is it.
And that's what's destroying the PDP as we speak gradually.
Exactly.
And they're all thinking that it's Asiwaju that is destroying the PDP.
So maybe El Rufai is looking at 231. And he is thinking that he should have his own party, so that he can have his way to become presidential candidate.
But the presidential candidate of the SDP in 2023 is still going to be the presidential candidate of SDP in 2027, from what I hear, I read somewhere. Well, anyway, it's not hard and fast. It's not cast in stone because there's going to be primary.
He may also be looking at Kaduna because the governor of Kaduna, Uba Sani, used to be his man, and like now they are falling apart. So maybe he wants also a platform to sponsor somebody to fight against Ubasani in 2027.
Yes.
So he has his calculations. So we'll know.
All right. My High Chief, thank you very much. It's been so magnificent having you as our guest. It's been very, 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 very interesting. It hasn't been dull. Not for a moment. It hasn't been dull. But just before we hit the road for the day, a general advice to the River State people, the best way forward, going forward. What's the best? What should they be doing? What should be done so that we get to have peace?
Well, reconciliation.
Okay.
Between
the president should set up a reconciliation committee.
Well, it's not the president. The president cannot be interfering in River State. The president can advise and dialogue with leaders of River States. I believe the president should call all of them to Abuja and talk to them.
Okay, I heard he did so last night.
That's fantastic.
So, but we've not heard what came out of it. I'm sure by this afternoon we should be hearing what came out of it.
Rivers people more than any other selfish consideration, and the governor should be reconciliatory.
Should be willing to stoop.
Exactly. The governor should stop fighting, and the governor should stop threatening that, look, I can unleash the youths on you. He said that. I don't expect that statement from the governor.
From the governor,
that
right?
Unleash the youths.
All right, Obla, Chief Obla, it's been nice having you. Thank you very much. And Ladies and gentlemen out there, you have spent 1 whole hour with me. Who am I? Sam Atasia Oburu. I come correct or I don't come at all. Until next week when I come your way again, you miss me, you miss such an interesting time on radio. Until then, I'm out of here.
While enlightening Nigerians as well. Join us every Tuesday afternoon, 2 p.m. on Citizen FM Radio, 93.7 Labor House.